Okay, just a couple of things I forgot to mention. Make sure you save the game. We'll save the game as eat dots. One, okay, because that's how far we've got. Just in case we get any errors, it's always good to save it in increments, eat dots 1, eat dots 2, etc. So we can go back at different stages, just in case we really mess things up. Okay, so I'll just save that there to my desktop. So we've got lots of things on it already. Okay, so the function initiate game is what we're going to move on to. Functions are like mini programs in themselves. Okay, so I could put all the code here, but it's easier to make a function and then put the code in the function. So it calls all this code that's in the function, and obviously it appears here. Originally in BASIC, like traditional BASIC, like QBasic, etc., or if you've used a Amstrad, or Spectrum, or a Commodore in the past, we called like subroutines with GOSUB and GOTO and etc. In Blitz BASIC, it's a lot easier. You don't have to use that. You can simply just refer to a function, program a function, which is just like a mini piece of code that it substitutes into the main code under your specified whatever you want to do with it, or wherever you want to put that code. So every time it calls the function, like here, it will execute the code that's in here, that's down here. Okay, so it just makes it easier and clearer to do. Okay, so for our function initiate game, we want x equal to 320, so it starts in the middle of the screen, and obviously y 240, it being half, exactly half, each 640 divided by 2, 480 divided by 2 gives us the two numbers for x and y. That's where they come from. We want the initial speed to be 1, along with the things like the direction, and now the status. We also want to change the status to 1. Okay, so that's all our initial variables when the game starts. Okay, so that's what we want to happen when the game starts, and obviously we want to change the status to 1. So our character will start in the middle of the screen for these variables, and also the initial speed of it will be 1, so it won't be 0, it will already be moving, and it will be moving in direction 1, which we're going to specify later, and the status will be 1. Okay, so we should be able to select between the status of the game now. Okay, so when we run the program, it says press enter to start, and then we're in the game. Of course, we haven't drawn anything to the screen yet, apart from a small rectangle, which you might just be able to see, well, sorry, a large rectangle with a very thin line around it, around the edges, which is, what color did we specify? This color. You can just about see this rectangle around the edges of the screen. The reason I put that in is because some monitors, they don't align correctly, so just so you can see the border to the actual game, okay, because some monitors display a little bit differently, okay, or you might not have the adjustments to your monitor exactly at the edges of the screen so far as the actual computer is concerned. Okay, so that's why I put that rectangle in. Okay, so that's really all we're going to do for the initiate game function. That's all it does, sets it up. Okay, and to update player, first we need to move the player about the screen. Okay, So in order to be able to move the player, okay, because case 1, because we're now here, it's gone to case 1, okay. So in order to move the player, we have to be able to move it in up, down, left, right, okay. And we're going to use the key down, which is different from the key hit. Key hit, you hit it and hold it down, it just goes once. If you use the key down function, you hit it and hold it down, it's going to keep on doing that function which you give it, or whatever you tell it to do, okay. So that's the difference between key hit and key down. Obviously when we hold down an arrow key, say the left arrow key, we want it to keep moving that way, so we use the key down function, okay. And key down 200, then we're going to set equal to 0, okay. Sorry, then equals 0, okay. And the key down 200, that would be to our left, okay. And we can do this for all of the arrow keys. 1, and if key down, is it 205 for the other direction, and for the other arrow key, which is can go 208 for down, okay, and I believe it's 203, okay, for the other direction. So all 4 directions, up, down, left and right, okay. So moving in any direction there, okay. So up, down, left and right, okay. So hang on, this is up, is this right, left, right, down and left, okay. 203 is the left key, sorry, okay. So we're starting from moving up, moving to the right, moving down, moving left with the arrow keys. These are all the scan codes for the arrow keys, okay, which you can look up in the help file for Blitz Basic. Okay, so we actually now want to move the player, so we'll select, use a select case, so we'll select the direction, and case 0, i.e. when dir equals 0, we want the y to be equal to the y position minus the speed, okay, minus the speed of the player. So when it's in that direction, which is 200, which is our 200 key, okay, which is the key up. Remember, y goes down the screen. We actually want to take the speed away from it so that it moves up the screen, okay. And I'll just copy this so I don't have to type too much again. We've got 4 directions, okay. We've got case 1, case 2 and case 3, okay. Now in case 2, 205 in direction 1, okay, so we're in case 1 here, okay. So 205, we're no longer moving up the screen, we're actually moving to the right, so we want to actually move in the right direction, which is X, okay, and X increases from left to right, so we want to add speed to it, okay. And case 2, we're moving down the screen, so Y increases down the screen, so we want to add the speed to it. And case 3, we're moving left, so we want to move from right to left, X decreases. Okay, so we want to take away the speed because X decreases across the screen from right to left. Okay, so we take away the speed and it will move to the left, which is what we want when we hold down the left arrow key. Okay, which is scan code 203. Okay, and then we end the select. Okay, get that right. Okay, and I will just indent that. Okay. Okay, so we now need to draw the player to the screen. Okay, so draw player. So we need to draw player to the screen. Oops. This is still within the function update player. Okay, so here we're going to draw the player to the screen. So we'll just use the color white for now. Okay, then our player, we're not going to do any fancy graphics, it's just demonstrate how it works. We'll start at the XY position, which we've already specified to be in the middle of the screen, and then we want a 10 by 10 rectangle, so 10 across, 10 down. Okay, and that's the size, so it's going to be a small square on the screen. And that's it, we've completed this function. So it should be a little bit more exciting now, in the fact that we should be able to move our player, see our player, and then move our player, which is just a square. Click on the rocket to run, press enter to start, and there we go, it starts off moving, and we can move it by pressing the arrow keys. Okay, this would, going down the screen would be Y plus Y speed, going up the screen Y equals Y minus speed, going from left to right X plus X plus X speed, going from the right hand side to the left hand X equals X minus speed. Okay, and you can still go off the edge of the screen behind the rectangle. Okay, so hopefully that will explain to you what this is here. Okay, in the next tutorial we're going to actually be printing some enemy to the screen. Okay, so and some bonuses. So two types, we're going to add some rocks to the screen to avoid, and we're going to add some dots or some food to the screen. So there's things you can pick up and there's things that you need to avoid, in the same vein as something like Pac-Man, for example, or Mr. Do. There's things you need to pick up and there's things you need to avoid. Okay, and that's what we're going to be doing next. So we'll save this file, save as, and save it in increments. Okay, and I've saved it as eat.2, as you can see here. Okay, and we'll save that. Okay,